Hi guys, this is Sharif Hamdi, the Egyptian film critic and historian, doing his second part of his tribute to the great John Travolta regarding his latest honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. So we finished with the last part with the film Two of a Kind with Olivia Newton-John. Then we start with a very important film in his career, the 1981 film, Brian De Palma film, Blow Out, okay? Blow Out, which was influenced by the Italian film, Michelangelo film, Michelangelo Antonioni, Blow Up, okay? Here John Travolta plays a sound engineer who's using sound in order to put them on horror films. One day he will discover he was recording sound at the beginning of the movie, and he will discover a blowout of a tire of a car, which will spark an odyssey of trying to figure out the car will flow into the river, and he will save the character of Nancy Allen, and then this will spark an odyssey into the mind of a very bad serial killer. This movie has a very horrifying ending, and it is one of my favorite John Travolta performance. It was released it is in the Criterion Collection, by the way. This is the Arrow release. I love this movie so much. It's very well done, and it's very creepy, and the relationship between him and Nancy Allen is very it's very creepy, okay. This is the movie, and we can see here the picture of him recording sounds at the beginning of the movie at the lake, okay, which will lead to the accident that will spark the event, okay. I will never forget the ending of this movie. It is a scream, guys. What a scream, okay. John Travolta, my beloved actor, in Brian De Palma, Blow Out, okay. Then strangely, with the success of Saturday Night Fever and the character of Tony Manero, okay, which was his breakthrough in 1976, comes 1983 with the sequel of the character of Tony Manero with the movie Staying Alive, okay, Staying Alive. And by the way, this movie is directed by Sylvester Stallone, yes, Mr. Rocky Balboa himself, okay. And the soundtrack of this movie is by Stallone's brother Frank Stallone. He sings in the movie, okay. It is a continuation. I remember during the opening credits, after the opening credits of this movie, and Tony Manero is still struggling to be a perfect dancer, there is a scene where John Travolta is walking down the streets of New York, and on the other side there is a guy coming on the other side. They will lock shoulders. Then John Travolta will look at his back, and it is Sylvester Stallone. What a cameo, huh? This movie also was a success, a disastrous flop, by the way. But there is a very beautiful interview here by the leading actress Fionnuala Hughes, okay, Fionnuala Hughes, and she says how she was unknown. She was only a dancer, and how this movie, regardless of its failure and bad critical reception, this movie made her career. So thank you, Mr. John Travolta and Mr. Sylvester Stallone, for this wonderful gift, the continuation of Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive, okay. Of course, the 80s are labeled as a big failure for Mr. John Travolta, regardless of movies like Perfect with Jamie Lee Curtis in 1985, and I think and he had success at the late 80s with the trilogy of movies with the late Christy Alley, Look Who's Talking, about babies who are speaking, yeah. But there is a very special movie in the filmography of John Travolta in the mid 80s, because this is where he met Kelly Preston, his lovely wife. Okay, God rest his soul. And this movie was also a failure. This movie is The Experts, guys. Okay, The Experts. John Travolta, The Experts, where he met his beautiful wife, Kelly Preston. Okay, frankly, this movie was shot in 1986, and it took the studio 3 years to release it in theaters in 1989. Okay, it tells the story of two American guys who wants to open a discotheque. Okay, what they don't know is that they were abducted by Russian agents and put in a Russian village, and they will be in order to spy on America. Okay. Okay, this movie is really cheesy. Okay, I can admit that, but there is a very wonderful dance sequence between Kelly Preston and John Travolta, which is the heart of the movie. Okay, and it is a special film for John Travolta for meeting his wife for the first time, and they got married in 1991. Okay, and sparked a beautiful 30 years relationship, and he still make tribute to her on Instagram. The movie The Experts. Okay. Okay, we talked about Look Who's Talking. I don't have them, but in 1991 there is another flop for Mr. John Travolta, which I really love. A movie called Chains of Gold. Chains of Gold. This is the Blu-ray with Hector Elizondo. Okay, this movie, regardless of it being a failure, I really love it. I got it recently two years ago. Okay, Chains of Gold, where Mr. John Travolta plays a social worker struggling with the system and being fed up with what's going on, trying to help many poor families, and he has a tremendous relationship with this actor, this 15-year-old boy, and one day this boy is gonna disappear for some reasons, and he will go on a mission, John Travolta, in order to find him and save him. A really beautiful film, and that's this shows me that movies are made for people who believe or got touched. People, please don't listen to Rotten Tomato or IMDb or Letterboxd. Just experience the movie for yourself. Okay. My next movie in the filmography of Mr. John Travolta is a very برضو weird one in his filmography. It is the movie, I have it on from Mill Creek in six movie collection. It is the 1991 movie Shout. Okay, Shout, where Mr. Travolta plays a music teacher going to a town in Texas to teach a school of boys music. He has a very dark secret. Okay, he has a very dark secret, which will be discovered at the end. But he will gonna build a very beautiful bond with one of the students, and it shows how music lifts the soul regardless of your past. It's a very special movie, I think, and that's why John Travolta did it. Okay, the movie Shout. And regardless of its failure, please guys, check it out. Check the movie. Check all three movies. The Expert, for its special meaning to John. Chains of Gold. Okay, Chains of Gold, and Shout. Okay, guys. Let's continue to the biggest return طبعا to Hollywood for Mr. John, which was Pulp Fiction. Okay, which won the Palme d'Or for Quentin Tarantino in 1994, and John Travolta created the character of Vincent Vega, and the conversation between him and Samuel L. Jackson at the beginning about the Royale with cheese It's very beautiful. And this is a special movie for Mr. Travolta because it was his second nomination for Best Actor at the Oscars. Okay, and he didn't receive any award, sadly. Okay, this is Broken Arrow. Okay, after the success of Pulp Fiction, Hollywood poured its offers for Mr. John Travolta. Okay, and he appeared in his second collaboration with Mr. Gene Hackman in the movie Get Shorty. This movie is based on the novel by Elmer Leonard. Okay, Elmer Leonard, and it's directed by the guy who directed Men in Black, Barry Sonnenfeld. And it's a beautiful movie about John playing about playing a gangster who collects debts. Okay, and he will go to the movie producer Gene Hackman to collect debt, and then he will fall in love with the Hollywood system. It is a satire against Hollywood. It's a really beautiful movie, and all players, Rene Russo, Danny DeVito, Delroy Lindo, the late James Gandolfini, Dennis Farina. It's a really beautiful comedic satire of Hollywood, guys. I love this movie so much. Get Shorty in 1995. Okay, and then his collaboration with John Woo. Okay, beginning with this movie, Broken Arrow with Christian Slater. Okay, this movie was a box office success, and Mr. John played an evil guy. At the beginning of the movie, Christian Slater and John were friends, okay? Then John Travolta will become evil, trying to steal a nuclear weapon, and it was directed by John Woo, okay? And use also of slow motion like that. Okay, then came back the most successful movie in his career, which is Face Off with Nicolas Cage. And I remember watching an interview with him where I think with Jay Leno or David Letterman, where he describes his tenderness toward this movie and his heartfelt, because it was the most successful critical movie in his career. And really, guys, the two, Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, embodied each other. And of course, you know the story, okay, of swapping identities. It's a very emotional movie, regardless of the action. Of course, it used tremendous action by John Woo, but it's very emotional. It's very emotional. Thank you dearly, Mr. John Travolta, and waiting, and please, guys, waiting for the third tribute video about John Travolta, and see you soon in a cinema near you. Bye bye.